Hello and welcome to this video in the series on the AQA A-Level Paper 1 Summer 2026. This is the fourth video in the series. I'm obviously look at the first video first. That's the one where we run through the code, but I'm going to just look at something in a little bit more detail on this particular video. So if I run this program now, AntSimulationVid4, and display the overall details, this is the output that we get. So we get the cells in kind of like a linear format, and we get the food cells. There's always a nest in 2,4, that's hard coded in, and we get randomly placed some food on the grid. Okay, so let's just come out of that, and we'll just look into where that was generated. So when you select option 1, it goes into this case statement here, and we're basically displaying from this instance, from this world, this simulation, get details. So let's have a look at get details. There it is. Okay, so in here we are going, we're setting up a null string, and then we're going through the rows, and then within the rows the columns in a nested loop here, and we are storing in temp cell. Okay, so cell is an object there, and it can store the values of the rows, the columns, and the food that's in that cell. And we're basically converting the row and column into the single entrance on the entry on that list grid. If you remember rightly, grid is a one-dimensional list. It's not two-dimensional at all, so it has to be converted by using this getIndex method, and we're putting the value into temp cell. We're then looking at temp cell. We're getting the if there's a nest there. If there's a nest is not null, then we print out that there's a nest at that particular point. If there's an ant or more than one ant present, we print ant and then the number of ants that have been counted by using this method here, get number of ants in cell. Then further on along the line, we do the same with the pheromones by looking up that particular instance, get the number of pheromones in cell, and print that out. Okay, and then finally the food, and then at the end we put in a new line. Okay, so that's how it's displayed at the moment. Now I've done a little bit of work here, and there is another way of displaying it. So let's just cut and paste that code in, so you don't want to see me typing it all in. Okay, so this is another way of displaying it. We're going to display it like a board. So let's just run that program now. Option 1, overall details, and we've got some column headers across the top, some rows down the side, and then 500 items of food there. We've got a nest and 5 ants in column 4, row 2, and where there's nothing in a cell at all, we have just these dots. Okay, so this gives you a bit more of a visual representation of the board. maybe it's not ideal. There's another way of representing the board, I think, on the wiki page for the simulation this year, so do look that one up. But if you like this particular one, this is another way of displaying it. So just have a quick look through the code now. Pretty much the same thing. We go across, we set up our columns there and outline the columns across the top. We then put a new line into the details, and then for each row we do another we do a for loop, and then within that row we go across the columns, and we basically test to see if there's a nest is null, if the which is basically a Boolean value, has nest. We've got an ant count here, which we get the values of using these same methods that we did previously. The pheromone count, okay, and the food, the amount of food in the temp cell. Okay, if it's completely empty, we're going to produce just a dot into the details, okay? So if there's not has nest, ant count is 0, and pheromone count is 0, and food is 0, then we just put a dot into details and we continue. If the there are parts in there, then we are going to build that up. We're going to add the, if there's a nest, we put an N. If the ant count is greater than 0, we add an A all to this list here. The if there's pheromones, we put the P and then the pheromone count. Okay, and then finally the food, if it's greater than 0, we add the value for the food. All of those values we have from these methods up here, and then we join that up in the cell text, and we append that to the details, and then we put a new line. And after we've been through that nested loop all the way down, we return that in the string details. So it's just another way of displaying it. I'll just leave that up on the screen for you there. Okay, let's just shrink it down a little bit. Maybe not that much, maybe 80. And you can see how that is, yeah, maybe it needs to be 70. You can zoom in on it. Okay. So there you go. That's another way of displaying it. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one for some more of the same. Bye for now.